All right, so today we're talking about a linear relationship called direct variation. So a direct variation is a linear equation that passes through the origin, which is the point 0, 0, meaning the b value is equal to 0. So usually we have y equals mx plus b, but if b is 0, you're just going to have an equation y equals mx. Okay, and sometimes with direct variation, they'll change the m, which we know means slope. To a different letter and call it the constant of variation. But it's still the slope. Okay, and so it says determine if the following equations represent direct variation. So we're basically looking for a b value of 0. And so in the first example, the b value is 0, so yes, this is direct variation. Here the b value is 2, so no, not direct variation. Here we don't have a number after the x, so yes, direct variation. That means it was 0. Here the b value is -1, so no, not direct variation. Okay, and so this next part is just a review of graphing so we can see what direct variation graphs look like. And so in this next example, y equals 3x, technically there's a plus 0. So our b value is 0, while our slope is 3. I always like to write the slope as a fraction. So if it's a whole number, put 1 on the bottom, because the top number is it's our rise. So we're going to go up 3. And then the bottom number is our run, which means right 1. And this is always from our y-intercept. So if our y-intercept is 0, it's right here at the origin. And then we can rise 3, run 1. Rise 3, run 1. Rise 3, run 1. Down 3, back 1 to continue the pattern. And then we can connect our line. And so this would be a direct variation because our b value is 0. And it goes right through the origin. Okay, same with number 6. We don't see a b value. And so this is a direct variation. Our y-intercept is at 0, 0. And this time our slope, or our constant of variation, is -3/2. Whenever you have a negative slope, I like to move the negative to the top. And then the negative means we are going down 3 for our rise, but we're still going to run to the right 2. You don't want to put the negative on both the 3 and the 2 because then they would cancel each other out. And so move the negative to the top and just leave it on top. And so if I go down 3, right 2, down 3, right 2, down 3, right 2, up 3, back 2, that makes my negative slope. Up 3, back 2. And once again, even though it's negative, it's still going through the origin, so it's still direct variation. All All right, this next one, it's saying f of x. F of x is the exact same thing as y. So you could replace that with a y. Same with number 8. Y equals. Okay, and so this time our y-intercept is not 0. It's -5. And so this is not a direct variation. It's not going through the origin. The y-intercept is down here at -5. Okay, and then our slope is 2, which we can write as 2 over 1. So we're going to rise 2, run 1. And so we're going to go up 2, because it's positive, right 1. So up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1. And so you can see this line does not go through the origin. Now you have to be careful on number 8. It's y equals 4. Okay, notice there's no x in the equation. If there's no x in the equation, this is the same thing as having a 0x plus 4. They didn't write the x because the coefficient was 0, and 0 times anything is just 0. And so you don't see it at all. In that case, the slope is 0. And our y-intercept is still 4. So this is still not a direct variation because it doesn't go through the origin. Our y-intercept is up here at 4. And then we know slope of 0 is a horizontal line. Oops, that looks bad. It's when all the y values are all 4 no matter what. It doesn't depend on x. And so that's why 0 slope is a horizontal line. That's the best I can do. And so this is called a constant function, but it's not direct variation. In order to be direct variation, it has to pass through the origin, and this one does not. All right, so the main type of questions they ask on STAR is to find a specific value given a value. And so number 9 says, given y varies directly with x and x equals 5 when y equals 10. Find y when x is equal to 4. So this takes 2 steps. As soon as you see that y varies directly with x, you can go ahead and write the equation y equals kx. You could also use m instead of k. In fact, I think I'm going to use m instead, just to be more familiar. We can automatically write y equals mx because we know the y-intercept is 0 because of the word directly. It varies directly with x. So we're not going to write the 0 because that makes it look more complicated. Now they're giving you a point. They're telling you x equals 5 when y equals 10. Okay, they're giving you that point so that you can plug in those numbers for x and y and solve for what m is. So in this case, they said y was 10 when x was 5. I'm going to put it in parentheses for multiplication. Actually, I think I'm just going to use the dot. Okay, and so we can replace those values with the given information, and that's going to help us get the value of the slope, or m. So in order to get m, all we have to do is divide by 5, both sides. And so the value of m is 2, which tells me my equation is y equals 2x. I've got the slope now. That's the only reason you have this first point. Okay, so step 1 is find m, your slope. Step 2 is now you have your equation. You're going to use it to answer the question. So use equation to answer question. Okay, and so the question is, find y when x is equal to 4. Okay, and so we're done with the other information. We've got new information. X is equal to 4. Okay, so we're going to put in 4 for the x. And so y equals 2 times 4. And we know 2 times 4 is 8. And so that's our final answer. So they said find y. And so we just found y. And so our final answer is 8. We would type that in for our answer. Okay, number 10 says y varies directly with x. And so immediately I know my equation is going to look like y equals mx. And y equals 8 when x equals 12. So we're going to fill those in for x and y so that we can solve for m. So we've got 12 for the x and 8 for the y. So to solve for the m, I just need to divide by that 12 on both sides. And 8 divided by 12, you could do that in your calculator. I like to use Desmos test mode. And so 8 divided by 12. If it's a repeating decimal, definitely use the fraction 2/3. Okay, and so my equation is y equals 2/3 x. Okay, and so we are done with that first point. Now we're ready for our question. It says find x when y is equal to 6. So this is the opposite. This time we're finding x. First time we were finding y. This time we're finding x. Okay, and so they told me y is equal to 6. And so I'm going to fill in the y with 6. You don't want to replace the wrong value. So 6 equals 2/3 x. Okay, they told us y was 6, not x. And so to solve for x, this is being multiplied by 2/3. So to get rid of a fraction, you can multiply again, but you would multiply by the reciprocal. So the 3/2 would cancel the 2/3. You just have to multiply both sides by 3/2. Okay, and so you can do that in Desmos as well. 3/2 times 6. 3/2 times 6 is 9. And so 9 is the value of x. That's our answer. So just be careful. In the first example, we were finding y. We found y by plugging in the x. This time we're finding x, so we found x. Okay, one more like that. So given that y varies directly with x, y varies directly with x. I know my equation is y equals mx. And then y is -9 when x is 15. X is 15, so I replace X with 15. Y was negative 9, so I replace Y with negative 9. Now we can solve for M by dividing both sides by 15. Simplify using Desmos. Negative 9 divided by 15. I'm going to use the fraction negative 3/5. So my equation is y equals negative 3/5 x. Okay, so now we're ready to answer their question. So this time, let's see what we're finding and what we're given. It says find x when y is equal to 6. So we're going to put the 6 right here. 6 equals negative 3/5 x. We don't know x, we're finding it. They gave us y, so we replaced y with 6. Okay, and so they're multiplying by negative 3/5. We can undo that by multiplying both sides by 5/3, but it also has to be negative if we want it to cancel. Okay, so negative 3/5 cancels with negative 5/3, leaving me x. And then we can use Desmos. Negative 5/3 times 6 is negative 10. So our final answer here is x equals negative 10. That's what we would type in. All right, last one. Y varies directly with x, so y equals mx is what our equation looks like. And then we have y equals negative 8, so we're going to put that for y. And x equals 6, so we're going to put that for x. Make sure you have a times sign so it doesn't say m minus 6. Okay, and so x is negative 6, y is negative 8. We're going to solve for m by dividing by negative 6. So m equals use the fraction 4/3. And so my equation is y equals 4/3 x. Okay, and so then the question says, write a direct variation equation. Write a direct variation equation that relates x and y. This is it, we're done. They just wanted us to write the equation. And sometimes STAR will just ask for the equation, and so then you're done after step 1. That's what your answer would be.